What is up, true believers? The eternal truth. The eternal truth. The eternal truth. The eternal truth behind our modern mythology.
What is up, true believers? It's Mason here with Comics and Crosses, where we discuss the eternal truths behind our modern mythology. And today is Monday, January 31st. It's the end of the first month of the year. What's up, BJ Kicks? Thanks for dropping in. Can't believe it. Yeah, January. I want to say it flew by, but it didn't for me. I've been working a ton. But also, I started this morning show. So, that is definitely the silver lining or the highlight of this new year for me. I mean, there's a lot of good highlights, but it's really been fun kicking off this show and hanging out with people in the morning and just kind of talking some comics and talking some cool ideas that are out there and just being a little background noise, hopefully to get people going in the morning. So hope that everybody had a good weekend. I hope that maybe you got to appreciate some NFL football. I don't know. I did. Unfortunately, my Niners lost, so that's a little sad. But, you know, it happens. And now I get to root for the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So, you know, let's go Bengals. You know, but if football is not your thing, hopefully you had a good weekend anyway. Hopefully you got to read some good comics. I was pretty busy, but I tell you what. I've mentioned it on my show before, but this War World saga that's going on right now with Superman in Action Comics by writer Philip Kennedy Johnson. I think the art has been the same artist, but I'm not totally sure. Federici. Man, the War World saga with Clark Kent Superman in Action Comics is good. I mean, it's I think it's starting to get really, I mean, it's just really fascinating. I think if you're somebody who thinks, oh, Superman is kind of not interesting or not really into him, he's too boring or he's got too many powers, this is really a cool story that takes him out of his usual element and really gives some contrasts that kind of allow you to see those Superman qualities and what makes him Superman, what makes Clark Kent tick, what his driving morals and convictions are in a very dark, bleak situation. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty epic. I was wondering about the use of saga. We've had the Phoenix saga. We've had the Star Wars saga. You know, when you put saga on it, there's Saga that just came out. Ahoy, mates and mermaids. What's up, Captain Comics? You know, so there's sagas out there, and when you know that's in the title, you kind of feel like, okay, it's got to be something big, very grand scope. And the War World saga, I think, is getting there. It could definitely earn its title. So we'll see about that. And if you're not reading that, I mean, Robin from DC Comics was reading that this weekend, and that's been consistently really good, really interesting. It's kind of cool in that it's really taking Damian into a storyline that's specific to him and his background, his history, being the grandson of Ra's al Ghul, also obviously the son of Batman. But yeah, so it's getting into this League of Shadows, League of Assassins, League of Lazarus kind of thing. Definitely a good ongoing, been enjoying. And then I think, yeah, Joshua Williamson is now on Batman too. So that one's just kind of getting started after the whole Fear State thing. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, also Shadow of the Bat is doing from Detective Comics, the Shadow of the Bat storyline is talking about this new Arkham Tower. Let me know, what do you think? Is Arkham Tower, I mean, I like the twist that they put in at the end of this last issue. I won't ruin it, but there is there's been a storyline that basically Arkham's new tower in the center of Gotham City is supposed to be a fresh start, supposed to be a better rehabilitation system for the criminally insane, and it's actually working. So they're taking these these new drugs, and it's really seeing a lot of just change in these villains, in these insane folk. And it turns out at the end of the last issue, there's a reason for it. There's a way that this is kind of being achieved, and it was cool. It was a good idea. So that's what's going on over there. Beyond that, I mean, Flash has been consistently fun. The Flash is kind of, DC's zany, kind of out there, lighthearted, but big action kind of storyline. I've compared it before to the Fantastic Four, who's kind of Marvel's zany, kind of legacy, fun, kind of storyline going on. So I read both of those and enjoy them. So the Flash was kind of fun. I haven't got to Thor yet, but Thor's storyline has been interesting lately with his hammer. Having issues with the hammer, and then turns out the hammer is another god, a god of hammers. I don't know. So we'll see where that goes. And then also Spider-Man Beyond, I think, is getting interesting. Peter Parker's trying to fight his way back to being a qualified Spider-Man, and Ben Reilly is going through it. He's, I feel bad for the guy. And I talked about this a bit before. I had one of my episodes here where I compared Ben Reilly Spider-Man versus Peter Parker Spider-Man. And I think that while Peter Parker has a long legacy of being kind of a punching bag and really going through it, now in today's day and age, Ben Reilly, the abuse and the struggles that he's going through mentally, psychologically, and emotionally, I think are very much make him kind of a more relatable Spider-Man. I mean, today where people are actually talking about their mental health and where people are suffering with mental health issues a lot more, especially after lockdowns and things like that, just the isolation increasing. So, so Ben Reilly is kind of, I don't know, he's becoming, this is just my opinion, but he's becoming kind of a Spider-Man for the people today, and there's kind of new, interesting places that you can take him, whereas Peter Parker maybe kind of feels like we've seen it all from him, What can they do? Put him in another new suit that we know is not going to last? I don't know. That's what I think. But anyhow, it is Monday. We got some good comics coming out this week. I will touch on that at the end of the show a little bit. I usually like to hang around, talk for 20 or 30 minutes or so, just to get us going in the morning, talk about some fun stuff. This morning, I was thinking about, and reading Superman makes me think about it as well, I was thinking about the idea of heroes versus anti-heroes, and how and why we like these different characters, like what it says about us, actually, is what I was kind of almost meditating on, because there's been an issue or trouble with, say, Superman selling, or Captain America, or these kind of virtuous, wholesome characters who you might say are just heroes. They're straightforward. They stand for right truth, justice, in the American way, or something like that. Versus you got anti-heroes like the Punisher, or even kind of Daredevil, although I think he is very purely motivated. But he's a kind of a flawed character in different ways. There's the Punisher. There's these dark kind of characters that we gravitate towards. Batman's an interesting one because he also has a very much kind of pure purpose, but he's definitely, painted as kind of disturbed himself. Very harsh, very broken, sort of broken from the childhood that was stolen from him. Bruce Wayne is. So, but I was thinking about it, and here's what I'm thinking about. I think that most people tend to gravitate towards the darker, towards Batman, towards, Daredevil, which I love those characters. Um, characters like that versus, say, the Fantastic Four, or Superman, or, these kind of more wholesome, pure characters. But, and I'm wondering why that is, and I think that here's what I think. I think that I've observed over my life that people want to follow leaders. Now, these are imaginary characters, but they have influence, right? If people want to follow them and hear their stories and hear what they have to say, in this imaginary context of comic books, in the world of comic books, they are influential, you could say. And I think that people want to follow people when they see themselves in them. And I think when it comes to flawed characters, and I mean, there was we're kind of in a postmodern world where there was a time where Superman and these characters were all simple and they fought the bad guys and that story sold. But then there was obviously around the time of Frank Miller coming into comics and Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, and you started to see these kind of really dark, disturbed heroes who are still heroes, but they're more of anti-heroes. They're more dark, they're more flawed. Obviously, The Watchmen was considered the greatest graphic novel ever written by many. And where you see very broken, even disturbed superheroes, superpowered people. And I think it's very much reflective of a postmodern attitude and ideology where people have lost faith in their heroes. They've lost faith in authority structures. And so we see that reflected in the way that we view heroes. And so, things like The Watchmen, and then a lot of comics, it's actually hard in comics now for a character to be really pure and true. They're even trying some new things with Billy Batson with Shazam in DC Comics. So, but they're also going to go with Mary Marvel's going to be Shazam now. So I don't know exactly what, but they did some kind of interesting, really dark stuff in Future State and Teen Titans Academy with Billy Batson with Shazam, who's traditionally been a very pure of heart, childlike character. And even his comics are kind of light to where maybe they're not super exciting for people. I don't know. It depends. I only read a little bit of the last volume of Shazam. But anyhow, I bring this up because I wonder what it is that I think that in the same way that people want to follow leaders that actually they see themselves in, I think in the same way people like characters or heroes that they see themselves in. So that's why I think a flawed character, I think relating to a pure character like a Superman, like a character like even maybe the Fantastic Four, or a wholesome family, things like that can kind of feel distant or feel two-dimensional, where we're living in a world where our flaws and our challenges are very three-dimensional. So I think that it's good to identify with the best parts of yourself. This is just my personal opinion. And here's why I bring it up, because I thought, okay, I'm talking to comic book people about comic book stuff, but mental health is a very close to my heart kind of issue, something I've struggled with a bit, and something that I've seen, a number of people in the comic book community struggle with. And so I think since I'm using comic books to talk about some very big themes and very universal ideas, it's good to draw from these things and see what can I do today to improve my life or to have a better perspective. This is not a comic book, but I'm reading this book, very small, very short, maybe pick it up, called Make Today Count by John C. Maxwell. And the first thing he talks about in like daily habits is like attitude, is having a good attitude coming into the day. So what I'm saying with all of this is yes, we might identify with the flaws of anti-hero or broken type hero characters, but I think as a person thinks in their heart, so are they. So, or another way to put it is the person who thinks they can and the person who thinks they can't are both usually correct. So it's very important to think about how do I see myself? Who do I identify as? Would I consider myself a anti-hero or a hero? Um, and it's important to identify with the better angels of your nature. And because identifying with your flaws or with your shortcomings or with your limitations are not really going to get you anywhere. I think that for anyone out there who thinks I am the Punisher or I am Daredevil, can I propose that perhaps you're Superman? Perhaps you're Superman. Perhaps there's a lot of strength and inner strength and power within you to do good things. Yeah, I like that. So this is becoming kind of a motivational Monday. Motivational Monday. That's a good way to put it. Motivational Monday. Because the way you look at yourself and the things that you identify with are the things that are going to point the direction of your life. I tend not to be particularly preachy. I'm more exploring the kind of themes and ideas and subjects, but this it kind of has me inspired. Thinking about reading Superman's story in War World, the War World saga, and thinking about, do I identify with myself as somebody who endures through difficult challenges, who holds to my convictions no matter, because Superman's enslaved. He's on this weird planet where they basically take over other races, enslave them until they die out. They even have like a ceremony when the final member of that like species goes extinct. It's very, twisted. It's very evil, it's true, but it's a mentality of death and destruction. And here is Superman, whose symbol, the S symbol, literally in Kryptonian represents hope. So, obviously he is a direct conflicting ideology to this war world ideology. And so anyhow, all that to say, remember that how you think is how you are. What's up, Aggressively? Thanks for joining, bro. I think you're a bro. I actually I don't know. But welcome. Yeah, so we've been talking heroes, anti-heroes, what they say about us, who we identify with, why we identify with them, and why we have a tendency to identify with our shortcomings or our flaws. We feel like that's what makes us human. But perhaps what truly makes us human is his identifying with convictions and ideals and virtues that are greater than being human. Perhaps that's the reason we all like superheroes in the first place, is because we know we have greater capacity than we typically see played out day to day. For real. Yeah, so that's the conversation. That's a little discussion I wanted to have on the subject of heroes and anti-heroes, who we identify with, what we feel, what we think about them, and why. So lastly, for the end of the show, I just wanted to talk about comics that are coming out this week, what I'm pulling. Maybe you guys can let me know what you're pulling. But so Spider-Man Beyond, I've been following that. That's coming out regularly. I think this is a regular one. So that comes out. Detective Comics that I talked about earlier. So if you're following the Fantastic Four, they have a event, Reckoning War, which is supposed to be like the culmination of all the stuff Dan Slott's been writing for a long time. Which Dan Slott, I mean, I don't know, feel how you feel about him, but he's got them. And Geiger. So a couple of cool things coming out from Image this week. I'm definitely picking up the Geiger 80-page Giant #1 because that's been a really cool world. If you haven't checked it out, I'd suggest getting the trade for the first volume of Geiger from Image Comics. Jeff Johns' independent thing that he did, and with Gary, is it Gary Frank, or who's the artist? Well, there's a bunch of writers on this. Who's the artist? Gary Frank, yeah. Who he did Doomsday Clock and stuff like that with. So that one's coming out, and Noctera is back for its second volume, Noctera number 7. That has been a super cool storyline. So those are the ones I'm checking out. Let me know what you guys are watching. What you guys are reading, comics that you're excited about picking up this week. Let me know if there's anything you think I'm missing. I mean, I'm not reading crossover. Oh wait, Woman Without Fear comes out. I'm reading the whole Chip Zdarsky world of Daredevil. So I'm reading Daredevil and Daredevil Woman Without Fear. Missed that one. I feel like I always miss stuff, and then I end up having to call my comic shop, tell them to make sure to put it in my box. Yeah, so should be a good one. Should be a lot of good stuff. Actually, kind of a smaller week than it's been, but that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah. So anyway, Slot is the GOAT. Okay, some love for Dan Slott. All right. Makes you laugh and cry in the same issue. Always flexing his canon knowledge. That's true. The dude has been around a while. He knows his comics. And I enjoy Fantastic Four. It's just something I just kind of always got to pick it up. It's like, I don't know why. I just love, I got the Funko guys back here. Fantastic Four. Need to get me a Doom. That'd be cool. And I managed to, the Human Torch fell and his hand fell off one time, and I managed to glue it back on. So, very happy about that. Anyway, so those are some of the things that are coming out. I also saw there's Until My Knuckles Bleed from Behemoth Comics, a little independent one that I was kind of interested in, but I don't think I asked for it in time, so I may just let that one pass by. A lot of stuff out there. Basilisk, which I was reading, but was a little dark even for me. There's a lot of stuff that I can read without being too bothered by it, but it's definitely got some religious tones in there. So anyway, hope you guys have a great Monday, great rest of the week. I'll be back actually on Wednesday with a special guest, couple special guests who are promoting a comic book, an independent comic book they're creating. It's actually their second issue in a series about the life of King David, a story literally of biblical proportions. So slaying giants, becoming a king, all kinds of crazy stuff. And actually, I got to read the first issue digitally, and it's good work from Mercy Ways and Brainy Pixel. So be cool to talk with some creators, be the first official guests on the morning show. So God bless everybody. I hope you have a great week. Be a hero. As you think, so are you. So focus on whatever's good, whatever's profitable, whatever's beneficial. And I'll catch you next.